Welcome to the True Grime Stories podcast, where in every episode, we'll unravel a new mystery of cleaning business transformation from a grimy mess to a great success. Join me, your host, Jeannie Henderson, as together we dig up cleaning business secrets that you've been dying to know. Well, welcome everybody to today's episode of True Grime Stories. I'm so glad you're here. This is going to be another great discussion with a business owner who has taken their business from that grimy mess to a great success. You're going to love this story. So let's welcome Lynn Thoele. Lynn owns Sparkle Plenty Professional Cleaners in Woodbury, Minnesota. And she started in 2012, just going door to door with her father to do marketing. Isn't that great? Like, you know, we all start somewhere, and just going door to door promoting her business. And she now has 19 cleaners on her team. And get this, she calls them sparklers. Isn't that fun? And she is an award-winning cleaning business owner. Just some recent ones: Best of Woodbury, Best of Minnesota, which is huge, and Business of the Year from the Woodbury Chamber of Commerce. She's very active in her community. She's going to share more about that later. And she just has a passion for making a difference for her clients and for her employees. And she just loves what she does. So welcome, Lynn. I am so glad to have you on our True Grime Stories podcast today.
Thanks, Jeannie. I'm so happy to be here. I love your intro, by the way. That was so cool.
Thanks. Isn't it fun? Well, I am so glad that you can be a part of this, because I've known Lynn for many years in the cleaning business, and she has such a great story to share. And congratulations, Lynn, on all those awards. Like,
thank you.
I probably run out of room to put them up in your office.
Well, it's all because of my team. I have the most amazing team, and I'm excited to tell you how I got to this point. And so, I'm very grateful to the people that work for me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're a people business. We can't do what we do without great people, but it's hard to get there, right?
Yeah.
So you started going door to door. What was it like back then? What did your business look like when it first got started? We call this your grime scene, right? So
yes.
What was your grime scene when you first got started and it was hard? What was that all about?
Well, I obviously had no money starting up. Well, I had lost a job. I had a job. I was the first employee of an internet company, and the industry changed, and we were selling dial-up. I'm showing you how old I am right now, but it was a long time ago. It was dial-up. And then
I remember the funny noise, the dial-up noise.
Right. But as the industry changed and evolved, cable companies were bundling internet, phone, and voice, and things changed, and my role in the company really wasn't needed anymore. And so I found myself without a job, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And so I wanted to stay busy while I was figuring it all out. And I knew somebody that had a cleaning business in Minneapolis, and I called her up. I said, hey, can I just work for you until I figure out what I want to do? I want to be active and make some money while I'm figuring out my next move in life. And so I did that. And to my surprise, I realized how much I enjoyed it. It was such a fun, I love the feeling that you got when you'd go in people's houses and they were so happy to see you. And then they were so happy with the results. And I love the tangible.
You're making a transformation.
Yes. And so I thought, this is really cool. I love the feeling. And so I had watched with my previous job how the business grew over the years. And I thought, well, I think I could do this. And so I didn't have a business background other than that job, really. And I was in sales and marketing throughout my life. But I decided to start my own cleaning business over in the St. Paul side of town, and didn't have startup money. So my dad was always my biggest cheerleader. And he said, let's just make flyers and go we'll knock on doors. And so my dad would knock on doors on one side of the street. I would be on the other side. And I just printed off flyers from my computer at home.
That is
And,
so sweet. I
yeah,
love
and it was just great. And those were scrappy times,
it.
and we every week we went out several days in a week and started getting clients and started building it up. And I cleaned for the first 5 years. I had started hiring people, but I cleaned for the first 5 years until I met Debbie Sardone in Las
Hmm.
Vegas.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, in Las Vegas. Okay. Was it
yeah.
at like the ISSA show or?
Yeah, it was an
Yes.
ISA. Yeah. And that's when I was introduced to CBF, and I joined. I put it all on a credit card. I was super nervous and came home and said, well, I hope this works. And I really, it was a big change. I was doing everything
So what did your
differently.
business look like at that point?
At that point, I had
How many technicians did you have?
I had maybe six.
Okay, six
And
technicians.
and I was working from my home, so I would have people come to my house every day. I had cars, and they would park in my driveway and then take one of my cars.
Uh,
And I
I
was,
did that too. I wish I
yeah.
would have taken pictures. Like
Oh, I know, I
I
do
didn't take
too.
any pictures back then. I wish I would have, like pictures of my driveway full of other people's cars.
Right. And wasn't it crazy? They'd all come in my house. There was like no privacy. I mean, people would be sitting in my living room waiting for their partner to show up.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
we'd have
I'd be in my
breakfast.
pajamas sometimes because I just didn't get
Yes.
it together before they all would come, and they would just come in without knocking. Like,
Oh yeah, same here, same here.
hmm.
And then I was washing all their cleaning towels. I was paying them just a flat, everybody got the same, an hourly rate. Um, and it was chaotic. I mean, there was always one person of the two or three sometimes, depending on how big the house I was sending them to, that would be late,
Hmm.
or somebody would show up and they just broke up with their boyfriend and they're all boo-hooey and on their
Hmm.
phone the whole time at the job. So there was always this tension, it seemed. It's never just easy. And when I met Debbie, and came home and started studying everything, I just pretty much ripped the Band-Aid off and said, called a meeting. And then that did not go well. People don't like change. And so they're
I
like,
can
what?
only imagine the looks on their faces when Lynn
Right. We're
came
going to
in with
drive.
these
We're gonna,
newfangled ideas of how to run a cleaning business.
exactly. And they're like, we're going to wash our own towels. We're going to drive our own cars. We're going to work by ourselves. And then at the time I did the commission pay, I do job ticket hours now, but
Hmm.
it's a tiered system.
Hmm.
They didn't like that. Pretty much everybody quit over the next year, and I was trying to hire other people, but that's where it all started. And once I started following Debbie's system, things did calm down and get really good.
Hmm.
But then COVID happened,
Yes.
and it really changed everybody's businesses, didn't it? I mean, it
Hmm.
just really threw a monkey wrench.
We kind of
Um,
had to reinvent ourselves, right? We had to prove that we were providing something that people needed and that we were being safe while we were doing it, right? Giving people
right,
that confidence.
right. And for me, I just never after COVID, I just could not find employees. I couldn't get them to stick. The ones I did have, I couldn't get them to come to work on a consistent basis.
Mm.
And it was just chaos. And the last several years have been really hard. And I couldn't get above like 13 employees. It was just, I'd get 14 and then I'd lose one. I'd get 15 and I'd lose two. It was just this back and
Mhm.
forth. But the biggest problem I was having was the call outs, the constant call outs. And I started, I was really researching everything, reading everything, trying to find out what is going on with this group of employees, people in their 20s primarily.
Yeah, why aren't
And,
they, why won't people show up?
yeah.
I think everybody runs into that in our industry. I know, like, I remember back in my early days, in the morning, I would text everyone just to make sure they were coming to work,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And because
absolutely.
I was just, I didn't know what else to do. I'd get up every morning, I'd put a uniform shirt on just in case I had to go out and clean.
Right. Oh my
And
gosh.
and it's chaotic. you know?
Mm.
And so coming out of the pandemic, you know, you've got this great system. You've implemented a lot of change to your business, but you're coming out of the pandemic and you're finding that employees just aren't sticking. And
Right.
if they are sticking, they aren't dependable.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think one of the things that we all found that changed during the pandemic is people really started reevaluating their lives, what's important to them. All of a sudden, it wasn't just about the money. You know, when I was in my 20s, I just wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted a cool car. And this group of people, they're a little bit, the things that are important to them are different. And so what I was
Very, yeah.
reading and what I was finding is that people want more than a paycheck. They're not necessarily that money motivated as I was back then, or we were back in the day, but they want a sense of purpose. They want to belong to a company that has values that they share, that feeling like they're going to make a difference in this world. They want with their work to also have it be meaningful.
Hmm.
And we always had a really great culture. We love fun here. We have a good time. Our
I can
vibe.
only imagine.
I
I've
mean,
hung out with you enough to know that you are really fun, Lynn. So yeah,
well,
I can
fun
only
is,
imagine how great your workplace is.
I think fun is on one of our values behind me
Oh,
there too. I mean, yeah, we have murder mystery part. We had a murder mystery party last year at my house, where we all got dressed up, had this dinner party.
oh, I saw pictures. That was
Yeah,
so,
and
yeah.
we do fun things together as a group. But what I found is that people wanted more than that too. They wanted more than that culture, and so being a part of our community and making a difference has always been really important. As we've grown, we've had more money to be able to do that. And so we did a number of things over the last few years that have really made a difference. And one of them is to be really to get involved in a couple of different nonprofits that really resonated with my cleaners. And one of them it's called CAST Minnesota, and it's Citizens Against Sex Trafficking. I
Mhm.
live in a community in the Twin Cities, is one of the highest rates of human trafficking in the country. And this is something that is really an important issue to my cleaners. And so we started volunteering at their events, donating deep cleans to all of their fundraisers, donating money to them. Tonight, as a matter of fact, I'm taking 14 of my employees to this fancy fundraiser that they're doing at a country club on a lake, and it's going to be and it was really important to me. I know that my cleaners love this organization, but I thought
Mhm.
if they could all be at this dinner and hear this presentation and realize the impact that this group is making on human trafficking, they're just going to feel even better about their job and even better about the associations that we have. So this particular group, Jeannie, they work on the prevention side.
Mhm.
Most human trafficking organizations work on the other
The
side,
rescue
where they're
side.
helping
Mhm.
victims and helping
Mhm.
them get back to a normal life. And this group works on prevention, and they do just amazing things. They go out to schools and they talk, and we did an event a couple summers ago with them, with younger kids, where we had spinny wheels and questions would come up, and we'd ask them questions, and we'd have to talk about, what do you do if a stranger asks you to send a picture of yourself?
Mm.
Do you do that?
Wow.
Yes or no? And then we'd help educate them on why they shouldn't do that. And
I just have to tell you, Lynn, like my heart is just so full hearing this story. Like I have tears in my eyes
oh,
that you are this leader, that you are impacting the lives of the people on your team in a way that they will never be the same.
oh,
You
thank
know,
you.
you
Well,
are really making not only an impact with these nonprofits that you're giving to, but you're giving your team a chance to be a part of something so much bigger,
yeah,
that they will never be the same. They'll never look at a nonprofit the same, or a cause, or the things that you're exposing them to. They'll forever be changed, and I'm sure it will light a fire in them of wanting to to make their own difference in the world, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's been really great. And the people are amazing at this organization. The things that they're doing in our community is just incredible. And so that has been great. And they love being a part of that. They're also excited. Everybody's some of the people don't have time to travel back to their homes, so they're coming back to our office tonight to freshen up and change into their dress clothes. So it's going to be a
Oh,
great night. Um,
wow.
and so then we also do other things like once a month. We have a spinny wheel, or not a spinny wheel, a tumbler with everybody's names in it. And so we pick one name a month. And we have a list of 7 or 8 different nonprofits, an open cupboard food shelf here in our community that serves just thousands of meals or gives thousands of families free food,
Mm-hmm.
animal rescue groups. Um, Wildlife rehab, all kinds of different groups, nonprofits that are important to us. And so we pick a name and then we make a cash donation in that employee's name to that group each month. And we have a wall where we write down everybody's name and who they picked. And so I feel like that's made a big difference too, Jeannie, in people staying here because our turnover has gone down significantly.
Mm-hmm.
So
I bet.
being involved, having fun, but even with that, we did come to a real crisis earlier this year, and I have to make a plug for CBF because it changed my life and my business in so many ways. Back when I met Debbie and then switched to the solo model, and how we paid people. But I was at a point this past winter where I was having so many sleepless nights. I still was having a lot of call outs. I was still
Mm-hmm.
having people that weren't showing up. We had just a reliability problem. And that,
Mm-hmm.
as you know, it's really hard. There were some weeks where we would have 15 jobs that we couldn't cover.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I put out an SOS call to Debbie Sardone,
Wow.
and I
And
said,
and at this point, you were part of our CBF Pro community.
yes, and the CBF Pro, which has been, so I started out with just CBF, then I got into the pros. And, I'd been in the pros for several years. I had never called Debbie with a problem, even though she makes herself available if
Mm-hmm.
people do need something. And so one night I was sitting at my dining room table with a bunch of sticky notes, trying to think of every idea I could think of
Mm-hmm.
to try to solve this problem. And all of a sudden I thought, I'm going to reach out to Debbie. And I sent an email in the middle of the night to her and her entire team. I didn't know how I would reach her. And within a couple of days, we had a call set up, and Debbie was so gracious, spent so much time on the phone with me. And she said, Lynn, by the time we hang up from this call, your problem will be solved. And I almost cried. It was such a sense of relief because it was really stressing me out. At this point, I had built my business, to over $1 million. And I was so afraid all this hard work, that things were going to just start to unravel. And
Well, and even, people think, well, you get to $1 million, you've made it. It's
yeah.
just smooth sailing from then, right, Lynn? Just
Oh my
smooth
gosh.
sailing.
No.
Because as we always say, there's a new devil at every level. So yeah, so you were on the phone with Debbie, which is so great that she makes
Oh,
herself available to our CBF Pro community that way.
right.
And so you're on the phone, sharing your issues with her.
Mhm. Yeah.
What was the solution? And then, we'll talk about the results a little bit later. But what was the big thing, the big aha that you discovered that was off in your business?
Well, as you know, inflation, everything is so expensive now. And I thought that my pay was very good. My top tier was I was paying $24 an hour. And the thing is, my clients are so generous. We have over the last few years, ever since COVID, really trained our clients to look at our cleaners as no different than any other worker in the service industry. And then if they're happy and tips are just so appreciated, it really makes a difference for your hardworking sparklers. And they have stepped up in such a big way. And my cleaners are making a lot of money in tips. About 80% of our recurring clients tip every single
Wow.
time, and
Wow. Good job.
generously. I mean, I am like, what? When I look at these paychecks. So I thought things were going pretty good. And Debbie said, she gets out her calculator, starts clicking away, and we start talking about my work comp rates and my payroll taxes, everything. And she said, you need to increase your pay. You're going to get better employees. You're going to get more consistency. And she told me I needed to go to 28 an hour. And I was like, what?
That feels
28?
like a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I'm like, can I afford that? I mean, that sounds great, but can I afford that? I mean, am I still going to have my profit margin? And I was
And
really
you're in
worried
a
about
major
that.
metropolitan area, so I'm sure the cost of
Yes.
living is
It's so
is
expensive.
significant. Mm-hmm.
Right. But with inflation, there's always that. So I can't raise my rates too high. I
Yeah.
mean, at this time, but she's like, nope, you can push them up a little bit more. And so she said, don't vary from this. Don't go talking to your friends and go, oh, I think I'll do 26.50. Just do it. I promise you. She was so confident. And so I said, okay. And I went to my admin team and they're like, are you crazy? What? No, that's insane. I said, nope, this is what
So
we're
you went
doing.
from what to 28?
24 to 28.
Whew.
Yeah. And so I said, we're
That's all
doing
I
it.
can say right there is, whew.
I know. So it was a big leap of faith. I was so nervous, but I said, we're calling a meeting, we're bringing everybody in, and I'm going to tell them what we're doing and that I want them to know, look, I know times are tough right now. It's so expensive. Your rent is high, your groceries are high. Maybe part of the reason you're calling out so much is it's like, what does it matter if I lose a day's wages? I'm struggling anyway. And so I said, I want this to make a difference for you, and I'm hoping it will. And I'm telling you, one of my sparklers was able to move out. She was living with a boyfriend, and it wasn't going that great, but she couldn't afford to buy her own or get her own apartment. She was able to move out, get her own place.
Oh my
Another one was able to get a brand new car, a much more reliable car. Another one was able to take her daughter on a trip to San Diego to see the ocean for the first time. She was able to do that because she was making such better wages than before. So that just made me feel so happy to see all of a sudden
oh my
people just thriving because they're not just getting by anymore. But also, Jeannie, the people that started applying for this cleaning job, totally different than before. I was getting
Wow.
people with solid work history, people that had been on their jobs for 4 and 5 years, people that were managing restaurants, people that were coming from the business world where they were just burned out, servers at high-end restaurants where they were making really good money, but working weekends and holidays and didn't have quality of life with their significant other.
Oh
So
my God.
I know, it was amazing. So now I finally cracked the 30. So we have 19 right now. Next week will be 20. And this is the best team I have ever had. I love them. We all enjoy spending time together. Tonight's going to be amazing. I wish there's
Yeah.
several others that weren't able to make it because of other commitments, and they're so bummed. But just really amazing people that can easily pass all the background checks, that aren't calling in sick, that have high integrity, that have that servant's heart that we're looking for. And so I owe everything to Debbie Sardone. She changed my business back in 2017, and then this happened, and she took my call and spent so much time with me, and it was absolutely the right thing to do for my existing cleaners so that they could thrive and not just get by, and also for me to be able to start growing the business. And I tell them, the bigger we get, the more of an impact we can make. The
Yeah.
more money we make, the more we can contribute to these causes that are so important to us. And I truly believe in that principle that, the more you give, it comes back to you,
That's so true.
and so it was scary though. I'm not gonna lie. It was really scary. And I live in a
Well, and
state.
I love that, you shared, there are many grime scenes in a business, right?
Mhm.
There isn't just one and you clean it up and then, no more grime scenes for the rest of the time. You're sharing an example that I think it's important for all of us to see is that as you grow, there's going to be a new grime scene and you have to figure out how to solve that particular mystery every single
Right.
time. So let's pause here for just a second.
Sure.
We talked a lot about CBF.
Mhm.
Let's share with our audience a little bit about CBF. Here's a little bit more for everyone, and then we'll come back and hear more about Lynn's results.
Is your cleaning business a grime story? There's no need to stay stuck in the muck because you're not alone. With over 500 active members and more than 500 graduates of our Cleaning Business Fundamentals program, CBF is the #1 cleaning business academy in the world and has created more mop-free millionaires than any program in the industry. Learn more and let CBF take your residential cleaning business from a grime story to a gleaming success.
Well, welcome back, cleaning community, to True Grime Stories. And we're here again with our guest, Lynn Thoele. And Lynn has shared some amazing transformations that she's made in her business. And Lynn, it was really helpful, I think, to how you shared that when you kind of were in the midst of that grime story. And I think we tend to try to fix it ourselves for too long.
Yeah.
Before the white flag goes up and we're like, we need help. And to lean into the help that was there, that you didn't go it alone, that you leaned into your community, just like you did, back when you started in CBF, like you did during the pandemic. So now, now that you've made these huge, and I mean huge changes to your business, and also the way that you're just touching the hearts of your team members, tell me about the results. You mentioned that you're hitting your 20 employee mark. What are some other great results that you're experiencing now?
I think the biggest one, Jeannie, is that with these new employees, and my existing one, and also we were able to get rid of the C players. Before that, we couldn't afford to get rid of them because we didn't have new ones coming in, and we were having so many call out that we were putting up with behaviors that we don't have to anymore. And so the great employees that I had before, they stayed, and then we've attracted all these other great ones. And so now we've got this consistency, with the solo model. It's so important to have the same cleaner. That's part of what we talk about when we're selling to new clients, is that you're going to, for the most part, have the same cleaner come out to your house each time. And now, before, we couldn't really follow through on that promise many times because people were calling out all the time. So now we do have that consistency, and we've got great relationships. Our cleaners, my sparklers, have great relationships with their clients. And so now we are able to, even now, we're doing it kind of slowly now, but we're able to inch up our rates that we are charging, because we are able to deliver outstanding service, very different than our competitors. And that was my one concern. I live in a state, Jeannie, where it's very expensive. I live in Minnesota. So if you know anything about Minnesota, we have some very expensive employee mandates that went into effect in January that are costing a significant amount of money. And then in January of 2026, in our state, we are rolling out the most robust paid sick and safe time policy in the country. And that is going to increase our taxes here, our business taxes in Minnesota, significantly. And so I was really worried about, okay, how am I still going to have a healthy profit margin when I've raised my rate and I've got these employee mandates that we have to follow? And now I am seeing that with the consistency of the employees, the quality of the people here. People and we've kind of rolled that into our pitch when we're talking to prospective clients. We say, right up front, we're like, we are not, if you're looking for a discount maid service, that is not us.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we are a premier maid
anyone
service.
who's listening right now, write that down. That's a gold nugget right there. Just say that right out of the gate.
And sometimes we'll say, we're not the Kmart, of the cleaning world. We're not. So I tell them we are a premier maid service. And what that means is, we run a fully legal and licensed business in the state of Minnesota. We adhere to all the employee mandates that are very important to take good care of our employees, and we pay them the highest wages in the industry. We want to make sure that nobody that works at our company is working 2 jobs, that they have time to spend with their family, go on vacation. And what that means to you is they don't call in sick, they come to work rested, and you're going to have just an incredible experience. You get what you pay for. And so we kind of set it up like that so that they know, okay,
that's
this
powerful.
is going to be a little more expensive.
Genius and powerful, and a great example for all of us we don't want to be the cheapest, right?
No.
We can't provide the jobs that we want to provide for people, or even eliminate the chaos. Like, it sounds like your chaos has gone way down.
Oh, for sure. And what's the craziest thing too that just happened recently? So we went through and found that there were several clients that were really underpaying. And we're like, we have to get these people up, and it's going to be painful. And we were prepared when we were looking at the list. It's like, man, some of these people, some of them, we had a couple of bi-weeklies that we increased $100 in a month. 50. That's how crazy it was. We're like, we're going to lose them. We know we're going to lose some, but we can't keep them. Somehow they had fallen through the cracks. And with that, we can't keep doing it at that price. Guess what? We've had the biggest ones. They didn't even, nothing. They took the new price. They didn't say anything. We actually were getting emails back from people saying, we're giving them a rate increase. And we had 3 different people last week email us and say, thank you for taking such good care of your employees. We love Hannah, or we love.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy? So I know.
I am
unbelievable.
Everything you have said has just been mind blowing. Like, so great. Like, this should be required listening for everyone in the cleaning industry. There's so many gold nuggets here, that you have brought about how to create a structure where you have a team that's got a great job. They love what they do, but they're making enough money to have a good life.
Yeah, exactly.
And then your customers, people want to buy from companies who they know are doing good things. Right. They want to be a partner with you. They want to be part of the solution. And that's exactly what you've done. You've kind of, instead of being like, oh, sorry, I'm giving you a price increase. It's like, hey, I'm letting you help these people. Like, I'm letting you come on board and help them with me. And they're buying in, right? They're just totally signed up to help you. I'm so happy for you. And I'm blown away. This is so good.
And we also let them know about the things that we're doing in the community, and that, you're truly giving back to the community when you do business with us. We partner with Cleaning for a Reason, where we clean cancer patients' houses for free. We work closely with these other organizations. In fact, I don't think they're all on our website. I need to put those out there.
Time to get that website updated. Yeah. You've been busy though.
I think people really, they want, like you said, they want to feel good about doing business with you, and they want to feel good about working for an ethical company that really takes care of their employees. Yeah. So that's been a really great surprise for me, because boy, I was so nervous hitting send on many of those emails. And it's just been, I'm just so impressed with our clients and how they really walk. Like here in Minnesota, we vote for these things, like these employee mandate things. People here voted for those. Those were important issues for the voters of Minnesota. And I was so worried that they were going to vote for it, but not want to pay for it because there is a cost, right?
Right. There's
And
a cost.
yeah, and I've been really pleasantly surprised that people are all in on this. And so, yeah.
Well, that is so great. So all these changes, all of that, we were talking before we started the podcast today, we were talking about you and Sherry, your wife,
Yes.
you have an Airstream.
Yes.
And yeah, so tell me about like how this impacts your life as a business owner, to, create the life that you've always wanted for you and your family, now that you have your business running so smoothly.
Yeah, we always had a dream of buying an Airstream. My wife is a teacher, and so she's off in the summer, so we're able to travel in the summer. And I've been able to work remotely while we do that. And she'll be retiring
cool.
in a couple of years. And I love work. I love this business so much. It's exciting. I haven't even talked about my admin team, but I've got this amazing admin team. They treat my business like it's their own, and they take care of everything. They're people that I can truly depend on, and so that's given me, between having the right people in place, having the CBF model, having the right employees, that truly has given me the freedom to look ahead with such excitement, because when Sherry retires in a few years, we want to travel the country and be gone for a long time, and we'll be able to do that. I'll be able to work from the road. Last summer we were in Spearfish, South Dakota. Have you ever been there?
No, I have not been to South Dakota. I would love to.
It's so beautiful. It's on the western side, the far western side, right by Wyoming. And we were camping there, and it just beautiful campground looking out over the mountains. And we needed some help back in the office. Some things happened and we needed some help on the phones, and Chelsea called me and I said, yeah, I can do sales today. And so I had my little hotspot, and I love sales anyway. It was so much fun. And I worked half a day from my Airstream, making money. And it was just great. And I thought, how fortunate am I that I get to do this? And the reason I have the freedom I have now, and the freedom, the even more freedom that I'm going to have in a couple of years, is because of CBF. It really is. So I feel very, very blessed. Absolutely.
Well, you have shared so much that, I mean, I know that you've worked really hard at it, but CBF, has helped both of us create a business that probably never would have dreamed of, but also create a life that we never thought a cleaning business would afford. And so congratulations. And
thanks, Jeannie.
You have shared so much today that I think is going to help our audience be inspired and hopefully take some action in their own business to make a difference the way that you are in your community and with your team. So thank you.
Thanks, Jeannie. It was great being here.
Yeah, well, we're so glad to have you. And if you're listening to us today, I just want to encourage you to watch more of True Grime Stories, because your business doesn't have to be a grime scene. There are solutions and there are proven strategies out there. And if you would like to know more about CBF, go into the show notes. You can click the link and we can set up a call. I'd love to talk with you about your business. So thank you, everybody, for joining us on this episode of True Grime Stories, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's True Grime Stories. Thanks for joining us in uncovering the secrets of cleaning business success. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and download, and check out our show notes for links and info from today's episode, and to learn more about our sponsor, Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Join us next time as we solve another True Grime story.